Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today is another Quick Queries video. We're up to number 14. This is where I take questions that you guys send to me or post in my forums or post on my YouTube channel, and I do my best to answer them. And these may or may not be questions that need a whole video on their own. So let's get to it. First up is a question from Benjamin, one of my gold members. He says, I gotta say, I really find Access difficult to make it do what I want it to do. Can you offer any advice on how to get over the hump, so to speak, and be comfortable and successful with Access? Yeah, I get this one a lot, Benjamin. Of course, the old adage is true. Practice makes perfect. It's just something you just gotta kind of do a lot. I've been doing this for 30 years. It's how I make it look easy. But I'll be honest, I came from a traditional programming background with BASIC and C and that kind of stuff. And so reconfiguring your brain to work with a database and thinking in SQL and stuff like that, that took me a while. In fact, the first couple projects that I had from customers where they wanted me to build them a database, I actually tried building it in C, which is like, that's like trying to build an airplane out of toothpicks. But once I discovered database programs like Access and how much easier it made things, I fell in love with it. My number one suggestion for people, and I mentioned this several times in my beginner courses, is don't try to do work-related stuff in Access while you're learning it. Pick a different project, a hobby that you have, something that you like doing, something personal. It'll help to wire your brain that Access is pleasurable, and you'll look forward to working with it, and that's how you learn stuff. And then you start thinking, oh, maybe I could do this. How about if I tried that? That kind of stuff. For me, when I first started learning this, I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. So I made a database to store all my characters and do a character generator and a dice roller and stuff like that. And that's just, it helped me to learn it. And another piece of advice is watch my lessons multiple times. Sometimes you don't get it the first time through. You're watching it and you're like, huh? But then after that, try to play with it on your own, go through the examples that I do, and then watch it a second time. And it'll make more sense the second time through. All right, that's the beauty of video learning. It's not like you're going to sit in a classroom where once the class is done, that's it. You got notes to look over and that's it. My videos, you can watch them as many times as you want. So watch them a second time, maybe even a third time, and then that light bulb will start to turn on. But don't try to build your work project while you're still in the beginner lessons. All right, wait till you get at least a couple lessons into the expert series, because then you start learning more about relationships and combo boxes and subforms and things that really make your database work well. All right, and even with a little bit of VBA programming in there, then it starts to really make, it starts to gel. So just give it some time, give it some practice, and you'll get there. Don't worry. Got a bunch of comments on my repost of my daylight saving time is dumb video. And yes, I'm going to keep reposting this twice a year until it goes away. A few people said they like the extra daylight in the summer, but they think it should be year-round. Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't care. They can jump it ahead 6 hours, 12 hours if I don't keep whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't change the clocks. Keep whatever time you want. Don't change the clock. I don't care if everyone went on universal time. And if, you just got to learn locally what your noon is and what time to get up. And everybody's on the same clock then. A few people said that in the northern latitudes, it makes sense because, you get days in December when the sun doesn't come out till 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I kind of get that. Daylight saving does make some sense if you're in those higher latitudes, okay? But down here in Florida, there's not a whole lot of difference between summer and winter. The closer you get to the equator, the closer it is to 12 hours of sunlight every day. So the southern states, especially Florida, Arizona doesn't use it. So, come on. You want to keep it up in Seattle or up in Maine? Fine. But down here, we don't need it. We don't want it. And this guy said, if I ran for president, and this is the only issue I run on, then I've got his vote. Thanks. I would take the job. And I could fix things, but my viewpoints aren't always popular. I tend to go with the science when it comes to pretty much all things in life. I follow the science. And is science perfect? No, but science is better than guesswork or gut feelings, or because that's how we've always done it. So not everyone likes that approach. I'm a science nerd, so that's, Live long and prosper, people. What would Mr. Spock do? That's what I would do. This one is a follow-up to my Edge browser control series, and this guy is basically saying that for sites like ChatGPT that require a logon, once you click the logon button on their site, it then opens up in the outside browser, and you'll get that especially if they have a subdomain, right? Or they direct you to a different domain altogether, like some places do. There's nothing you can do about that with the Edge browser control. It's a limitation I've run into myself. So I don't know of any techniques to get around that, even adding it to your safe list. But maybe in the future that's something they'll fix. The Edge browser control is still in its infancy, and I'm sure it's going to be updated and fixed and worked on. And when they come out with more stuff for it and changes, well, I'll let you know. I'm not usually the first one to get this kind of like new stuff. The guys over at Access Forever or Mike Wolf over at No Longer Set, those guys tend to get the news and the updates, and I get my news from them half the time. So when something's new, I usually wait a little while before I start making lessons on it, because the one thing I hate is to something new's out and then I make a lesson on it and then they changed it already, or it's got all kinds of bugs. And so I just wasted a bunch of time. So I wait till something's been out for a little while before that's why I really haven't done any lessons on like Dataverse and Power Platform. Yes, I know that stuff's been out forever, but I'm not one to jump on new technology. Helicopter Services guy says, my subforms add new button appears disabled. Any help on how to enable it? Okay, this sounds like a not updatable issue. All right, go to this page right here, watch that video. You've done something to the record source of your subform to make it so it's not updatable. Open up the subform by itself. And if you still can't edit or add records, then it's not updatable. Watch that video for why. Chances are that form is based on a query that is now too complex. You got something going on in there, a join or some kind of weird stuff that has made it not updatable. That's why it's generally best to make your forms bound to tables or to queries that only have calculations in them. I don't like queries with joins unless they're real simple joins, like you're joining to get a customer name or something like that. Not like I've seen people try to make forms with like 20 joins in them. No, don't do that. It's too complicated. This one is a response to my unrecognized database format. Xavier says, the disable file server leasing for advanced users to prevent database corruption on computers where backends are stored. Yeah, this is one of the topics. Okay, so in that video, I mentioned that I think it was Daniel over at DevHut or Mike Wolf, one of those guys. They posted an article that they talk about this thing called server leasing. Yeah, it was DevHut, of course. He's got a lot of great stuff on his site. And they've got a thing where you can disable the leasing on the file server. It's basically a way that the server machine, right, even if it's just a Windows machine, it doesn't have to be a server, handles the data in and out. And there's a registry hack you can use to disable the leasing, it's called, which will make the server PC handle that data better. But again, it appears that this issue has been fixed in the latest versions of Access, so you might not need this. But again, I didn't want to go over this whole thing in my video, but I included a link in the original video. I'll put a link down below as well if you want to go read this article. It's pretty good. So if you're still having this problem, then you might need this fix. MailJunk8834 asks if there were any subsequent videos on my Easy Access POS. No, this is something I actually started several years ago, a little while back. I started doing it in one of my Access developer classes, level 13 or 14, I think, one of those. And my goal was I was going to, over the next several lessons in my developer series, build a POS system. And so I did the first one, which is all, the database setup and setting up your tables and all that, which in and of itself is good. But I didn't actually take it beyond that step with actually building the whole thing, mostly because the feedback from my students was, yeah, this is interesting and stuff, but we just don't need it. So at the time I thought, well, I'll make a separate seminar out of it or a template or something. But there really wasn't a lot of interest for it, so I didn't continue making the POS. So if you are interested in seeing a POS built in Access, let me know. Post a comment down below. And if enough of you are interested, then I'll consider building it either as a TechHelp series or as a standalone seminar or template, depending on the interest. So I try to give the squeaky wheels the grease. So the more, it's like the TechHelp videos. The more I see a particular question, I'm more likely to make a video on it. Mac50 asks, his database is on a tablet, and when he touches a form field and the on-screen keyboard pops up, it moves things around, right? Access, okay, so I'm gonna guess by your username you're using a Mac. I'm not sure, or your name is Mac, one of the two. But if you're using either a Mac or an Android, then you're definitely like connecting into Access using some kind of like a remote desktop solution, and so it's definitely not going to be aware of that. If you're using a Windows tablet, Access still isn't aware of when the on-screen keyboard pops up. I don't know of any way to have Access know that that's happening. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. The only thing I would recommend is to design a form in your database specifically for your tablet that gives enough space on the bottom of the screen for that on-screen keyboard. And yeah, it's going to be dead space in the middle in the meantime, but figure with a database, you're probably going to have your keyboard up most of the time anyway. So I don't know of any way to make Access aware of the on-screen keyboard. So unless you did something where, you know, with a got focus event for each field, you could slide the form up that far. But I don't know. I would really have to play with this to tell you for sure. This one came in on the customer service forum on my website. Steven says, I, like many, don't have the money for Microsoft Office, which includes Access. Any chance you could start a video series on LibreOffice Base, or OpenOffice Base, which is pretty much the same thing? LibreOffice Base is a great starting point for those considering a free alternative to Microsoft Access. You make a good point that there is a lot of good software out there that's free, that does a lot of the same stuff that Microsoft Office does, especially your word processor and your spreadsheet programs. I'll admit, even I use Google Docs and Google Sheets once in a while instead of Word and Excel. As far as Access goes, I would be surprised if these products have the power and the flexibility that Access has. But I'll be completely honest, I've never used either of these, and I really haven't seen any demand. Yours is probably the first email that I've gotten in, I'm going to say 10 years, asking for either of these pieces of software. And they might be great, and they might do a lot of what Access does, but there's just no demand for them, as far as I'm concerned. And to be completely honest, while I love making videos, and I wish I didn't have to charge for them, I do have a business to run. This is what I do full time, and I've got puppies to feed. So I don't think that someone who will not pay $10 a month for Microsoft Office is going to buy my tutorials for free software. So I don't think it lines up with my business model. Besides Access and Microsoft Office, that's what I do. That's what I've always done. I've been using them for 30 years, and I have no desire to change. So, but feel free to prove me wrong. If there are a lot of you out there who are interested in learning about these two different Office suites, post a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and or even with the Google stuff. I have been thinking about doing some lessons on Google Docs and Google Sheets, because I do use those myself, and they do have some benefits. But as far as these other products, sorry, it's just not on my radar. I wish I could make enough money on just putting videos on YouTube. Like I know a lot of people do, especially people that make stupid cat videos, right? A lot of influencers out there. But for what I do, I have to sell memberships, and I have to have, courses to sell on the back end. Otherwise, just the revenue that I get from YouTube is not enough to survive on, especially with, Microsoft Access being my specialty. I love all of you, but I gotta turn a few of you into members to make it worthwhile. This is a response to my Bookmarks video, and this person, Gaz on Ice, okay, says you can also right-click on that margin, that indicator bar, and then go toggle and then bookmark. And that's awesome. I didn't know that. So if in your database, you go to your VB editor and you want to put a bookmark here, right-click, toggle, bookmark. I love it. I love when you guys teach me things. There's so many things in the interface that even I didn't know. that my students have taught me over the years, because you know how it is when you learn something one way and you get fixed in that, you don't remember any other way to do it. So I've got my one way that I use the very rarely that I ever use a bookmark, and that's the only way that I remember. So as with everything, I'm not surprised anymore. There's at least 3 or 4 ways to do everything in Access. So thanks for the tip. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week. There's your quick queries for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the Tech Help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any TechHelp questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.